All right. Hi, everyone. Ian Andrews back with you. I'm the Executive Director at LakewoodAlive, and very pleased that you're joining us this morning for the Ask a Banker Small Business Resources during the COVID-19 webinar. Our staff, I'm pleased to be joined by my colleague, Allison Urbanik, our Housing and Internal Operations Director. We thought that this would be a great opportunity to reach out to the financial partners who we work with every day in the community and have them talk about what they're doing in response to the pandemic, specific to small businesses, but then also any additional information on the residential side, because of course everyone needs a place to rest their head at night. So we're glad to have our friends here, and we're glad to have you as part of this first of a two-part series. We're going to get started. So the agenda for today will simply run through some of the programs in the community that we've been working to connect folks with. We will introduce our partners and then let them take over and give their presentations for the work that they're doing to support small businesses, and then take any questions. If you have questions throughout, please feel free to type them into the little thought bubble. Allison is going to help us with those questions. And so we will either interject or save them for the end. But we do want you to ask your questions. So please type those out. Everyone is muted, so please type your questions into the thought bubble. We will track them, and then we'll make sure to ask them. So let's jump right in. So some local programs supporting small businesses. It's important for everyone to know that the partnership between the City of Lakewood, Chamber of Commerce, and LakewoodAlive really could not be stronger. The three of us are working every day and have been, we always work well together, but especially with regard to the pandemic, have been working closely since the first week of March on daily calls, in some cases several times a day, to try to develop programming to support small businesses. We saw what was coming, and we're concerned about the impact it was going to have on many of you, also on the property owners who also need to collect the rent, because you also have mortgages and debt service, et cetera, that you need to pay. So we wanted to try to pull together different resources. I'm thrilled that the City of Lakewood offered the rent relief program that was pulling together two different pots of money for $200,000 to support brick and mortar tenants to be able to cover their rent. Payments have been going out. There are, in fact, 39 more checks that I believe are going in the mail today. And so more than 60 small businesses have been the beneficiaries of that. The response was incredible and far exceeded the amount of money that was available. So the city is working to try to figure out what can be done, if anything. So stay tuned on that side. Also, access to financial programs and resources. So we have been trying our best to promote various opportunities to gain access to financial resources to help out businesses, working to put out the county funding grant, which was just released last Friday. That was up to $5,000. Also a program through the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which was exhausted in no time. Also working to help folks with PPP and the EIDL program, Emergency Disaster Loan, of just connecting them with various folks who could help them understand how it works, and then encouraging them to call their commercial lenders and their business bankers to walk through that process, working with the city on any other potential options they have. Unemployment through the state of Ohio is a huge issue right now, especially as this drags on. More folks are seeking support from unemployment. And then, of course, developing a really great program that you'll hear about later with First Federal Lakewood for brick and mortar businesses. We've been able to create a small business task force with leadership from the mayor, folks in the community meeting weekly via phone call to strategize how to support small businesses. Coordinating our merchant groups. We just got off a call with our Downtown Lakewood Business Alliance merchants. We do that weekly now. Also a weekly call with the Uptown folks on Madison, and then partnering with our West End merchants, and then also calling businesses throughout the entire city, connecting folks with CPAs and lawyers to be able to answer their questions, and then trying to help with PPP and EIDL and employment, as I said, navigating what is really a pretty complicated process, especially as we look at a second tranche of funding that will be coming from the federal government with regard to PPP that is being run through the halls of Congress as we speak. And then advocacy with our public officials of letting our council people, mayor, administration, county council know the impact and communicate the issues that people are having with regard to the pandemic on their small businesses, it either being shut down, loss of complete revenue, issues with the unemployment process, et cetera. So we are doing everything we can in partnership with the city and the chamber to work on these issues. Our financial partners today, we're joined by our friends from Citizens Bank, Fifth Third Bank, and First Federal Lakewood. So I'm pleased to introduce Meher Almazan. Would you like to say a few words, Meher?
Thanks, Ian. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for allowing us to participate with this great discussion. My name is Meher Almazan. I'm the market manager for business banking in the state of Ohio, and I have 10 relationship managers that cover the state of Ohio, and I have one individual that covers specifically Lakewood area. I have been with the bank for 20 years, and I'm excited to be on this call and assist small business owners.
Great, thank you. On the data lesson, I've had the good fortune of working with the data for many years now. And the data, if you'd like to say a word.
Absolutely, and Ian, before I do, first I want to thank you personally, professionally, you and your team at LakewoodAlive and Lakewood Partners for organizing this very important forum and for inviting Citizens Bank to participate. As you've alluded, we've known one another for many years now, at least 9 since I've been with the bank. In my primary role for the bank, I cover Ohio as well as Michigan, serving as the liaison for community and economic development. My job is to help ensure that the bank is lending, investing, and servicing the entire communities it's operating in. And we achieve this by working with organizations like LakewoodAlive, nonprofit partners, with and through these partners to engage and provide support to small businesses and residents to help the communities thrive where we're operating and living in each and every day.
Great, thank you. Jessica Kirk is also helping the citizens. Hello, Jessica, if you just would like to say a word.
Hi, Ian. Thanks so much for having us on the call today. I've been with the bank for about 6 years. I've been in banking for about 16 years. Maher is my manager, and I do cover business banking for the Lakewood and near West Side communities. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Great, thank you. We also have Daniel Amalia, although we're having some technical issues, so we're working through that to get him onto the webinar. Tom Frazier is the CEO of First Mutual Holding Company, First Federal Lakewood. Tom, if you'd like to say a few words.
Sure. No, thanks, Ian, for coordinating this and organizing this and for your partnership over the years. So really pleased First Federal Lakewood can be part of this conversation today. And I know many of our businesses on this call, and I'm a lifelong resident and native of Lakewood to this day, living in Lakewood. So nothing's more important to my company and then to me personally to make sure our businesses are in the best possible spot coming through this.
Great, Tom, thank you. Thanks everyone for your partnership. We're going to get started and go to citizens. Oh, go ahead. Hey, Daniel, are you there?
Yeah, I was able to call in. I just can't get onto the webinar. I just called directly in.
Got it. Well, I'm sorry about that, but we're pleased that you're here. We were just introducing our partners. So, Daniel with Fifth Third Bank, if you wouldn't mind just maybe a few words about yourself for the folks on the webinar.
Sure. Yeah, so my name's Dan O'Malley. I'm a business banking relationship manager covering the Cleveland market. I've been in banking for about 10 years. I just moved over to Fifth Third Bank a little while ago, a little career move. But like Tom, I also am a Lakewood resident. I've lived in Lakewood almost 20 years now. I grew up right over across the bridge in West Park. So, Ian, really, I love what you guys are doing. It's really so exciting. It's one of the reasons I love living in Lakewood. Everyone is so involved, and everyone's working together to try and get everyone through this pandemic. So I appreciate the opportunity to be on the call today, and I appreciate all your hard work.
Great, Daniel. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We're going to go to citizens. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually pull up their website. They can run through some of the programming they have. I'm going to hand control over to our friend Nadeda, who's going to work with her team. So give us one moment here, and then we're going to get you guys up and running. So here we are. And then Nadeda, the
Yes.
mouse is now yours. Can you move it? Are you active?
Let's see. Just want to scroll up to the top here. Not yet. Oh,
great. Okay, you should excuse us, folks. We practiced this earlier and it worked, so let's give this one more try here.
Okay.
Okay, Nadeda, I've got you selected, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, Ann, if you can keep the control and just I'll help you navigate.
There you go. You got it.
Let's start. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. So, Citizens has a long history with Lakewood Alive in the city of Lakewood. Area small businesses are on the phone. Many of your employees, residents who are on the phone, many of my colleagues as well, and many of which are customers that bank at our branches on Madison Avenue. Many of our colleagues work there. They live in Lakewood, and like myself and my colleagues on the phone, we quite consistently volunteer our time and talents serving the city of Lakewood, including on nonprofit boards like LakewoodAlive, economic development committees, the Bird Sound Beautification Committee, supporting the Spooky Pooch Parade. I just love the Spooky Pooch Parade. Many of my colleagues routinely roll up our sleeves to help a number of Lakewood homeowners who are in need, sometimes with cleaning up their backyards, other times with painting their front porches. We're offering our financial knowledge and conducting seminars to area high school students. So the bottom line is we're here in this together, and we're ready to get through this together. Oftentimes, when I have an opportunity to share with community, I just underscore that the strength of Citizen Bank's business is directly tied to the strength of our community. So it's important for us to be here in this time with you. We're in this together. We're ready to work with you to get through this together. So the first step is to simply reach out to us. And I'm not sure if I have the control here, but if we decide to helpful services and resources, go up just a little bit.
You should, but there you go.
Okay. So it was important for us to put our website in front of you because we wanted to make sure that, that there are a range of helpful resources available to you at your fingertips 24/7, available to you online. A lot of things are top of mind for many of the small business owners and employees and residents who are on the phone. And, some of these topics range from, when and where should I expect to receive my stimulus check, be it direct deposit or a paper check? What type of financial assistance can Citizens Bank offer me if I and or my employees are experiencing financial hardship? The host of banking services that can be accomplished online or on your mobile devices. We want to make sure that it's very easy for you to. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to take care of yourself, take care of your families and your employees, as well as your banking needs while you're staying safe at home. You may have questions about bank branch hours. I'm very proud to share that the majority of our branches have remained open, albeit with temporarily reduced hours. Our drive-through windows are open, and our branch colleagues are available in the lobbies by appointment. So just contact us. You may have some questions on who to contact and how to do that, be it via telephone or online. And so we wanted to make sure that we put this website in front of you. Ian, if you can help me scroll down just a tad to safeguarding your personal information. You know, it's times like this, this climate really provides a prime opportunity for criminals to take advantage of many of us. And so it's now is the time, it's more necessary than ever before for us all to stay alert of fraudulent activities. We know that times like this or this is a typical type of time where fraudsters and phishing scams are on their ultimate activity and can create additional financial and economic stress and anxieties for us all. So we want to make sure that we're providing some helpful tips on how to avoid or to minimize your personal information being compromised. Let's see if we can scroll down here to financial assistance for you. And do you have the controls?
You have them. I'm just kind of assisting in the background, so hopefully that helps you.
Okay. Appreciate that. If we can, financial assistance for you. So earlier I mentioned that this resource center provides information on assistance that Citizens is making available to consumers who are adversely impacted by the COVID pandemic and experiencing financial hardship. So we want to ensure that you have a sense of the host of and range of financial assistance that's available, be it payment assistance up to 90 days with no adverse impact on your credit ratings, late fee waivers, including on your mortgages and or student loans, and how to apply for that type of assistance. And so the first step, again, is to contact us, reach out to us, let us know. We know that many of our customers take out home equity loans. Home equity lines of credit to provide working capital to fuel their small businesses. We also know how badly they are hurting, and perhaps even some of you on the phone, we're feeling your anguish during this pandemic. And so if that's you, please contact us. Log on to your account if you're a Citizen Bank customer to request a deferment of your home equity line of credit payment. The key here, as I'll underscore and Mahir will reiterate, is to contact us. That is the first step. We want you to communicate with us. We want to stay in dialogue with you in order for us to get through this together. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Mahir, who will provide an overview of the financial assistance available to small businesses.
Thank you, Nidada, and good morning again, everyone. So in dealing with the pandemic environment, Citizens Bank Business Banking has offered our customers credit customers payment deferrals for up to 6 months with no impact on their credit. We are also implemented cash management service fee waiver for up to 90 days. And we are also waiving late fees and overdraft fees as well. We are also participating on the Paychecks Protection Program, and we continue to take applications as we are anticipating, hopefully, Congress will approve a second wave of stimulus package by the end of this week. So my advice to you, if you have not applied or you haven't taken advantage of this program yet, make sure you go today and apply have your paperwork in place and ready, because once this package is approved, your bank can submit your paperwork to the SBA and secure an SBA number for your funds. So make sure you kind of get on it if you haven't taken advantage of it as of yet. As far as our communities, we are fully committed to our communities, and Citizens Bank made a $5 million commitment across its footprint, provide financial support for urgent needs today and for long-term recovery tomorrow. So in Ohio, about $440,000 has been made available for small business and community support. This includes $365,000 will go directly to small businesses across. $200,000 ECDI, Economic and Community Development Institute, for grants to small businesses in Cuyahoga, Lake, Lorraine, Geauga, Summit, Stark, and Lucas counties. $165,000 in direct grants to Citizens Bank small business customers to help them continue operating and recover from impact of the coronavirus pandemic. The program will provide 11 grants, about $15,000 each grant for bank small business customers. The grant recipients will be announced in May. And I will turn it over back to Nideta.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So in addition to supporting our small businesses with grant relief, we are also providing $900,000 across the footprint to nonprofit organizations who are on the front lines every day, responding to many of the urgent health needs, basic human services needs, economic needs of our community members. Here in Ohio, that has been $75,000 to 2 rapid relief funds, including the Greater Cleveland Rapid Relief Fund, administered by the Cleveland Foundation, as well as the Akron Summit County Relief Fund that's administered through or by United Way of Summit County. If I did like for receive additional information on those resources, which organizations receive them, feel free to go to their websites. They're updating them rather frequently. I know that the Cleveland Foundation is making their announcements on a weekly basis. As we all know, many of our businesses and our employees and customers are mobile, many of whom are in need. We'd like to ensure that you are aware of the plethora of resources that are available to them through these relief funds that are being administered through and by our partners. Ian, would like to turn it back over to you.
Thanks very much, Nideta. We appreciate that. My apologies if you hear the dog barking. A large truck just drove by my house. So I believe we do have a question or two. So Allison, if you would like to ask, please go right ahead.
Sure. So this is Citizens Bank, Maher and Nideta. We have had a question from a longtime Citizens customer with multiple business accounts. They were wondering how you've reached out to your business clients. I think there was a little bit of disappointment on the amount of time that it took to hear from them. And then also, could you explain the best way for businesses to get in contact? Is that through the actual branches or through a 1-800 number reaching out to a larger call center or something to get access to these resources?
Here, would you like to take that question?
Yes. As far as, contacting us, you can contact us directly. You don't need to call the 800 number. We are local, and Jessica actually covers the Lakewood market, and she can provide, her phone number directly. Jessica manages some of the small business owners and within Lakewood as well as near West Side. And as far as taking measurements proactive measurements to reach out to our clients, all my team members, we have been sending emails to our customers and calling them as well. Unfortunately, some of the customers, they have only listed their business phone number, and when you reach out to a small business that is closed today, nobody picks up, and you don't get to speak with someone. But we have been launching or emailing a lot of emails to our small business owners on a daily basis, updating them sometimes 2-3 emails a day, because the program has been evolving, and the SBA has been updating the program almost on a daily basis until the funds were exhausted. So that's kind of our outreach process in business banking. I think, have I answered the question, or have I missed any of or part of it?
This is Jessica. If I could just jump right on really quick. We've been doing, obviously nonstop contact with our clients, but we've also contacted and updated our branches daily, sometimes twice a day. So if you don't have my information directly, maybe you're not necessarily in my specific book of business, reach out to the branch, because the branches are updated just as often as we are with information. So if there was some kind of a miscommunication there with that particular client, they can always reach out directly to the branch. I've kept the branches pretty up to date on all of the information we've gotten in this very, very liquid situation.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica. There is a little bit more specificness, but I think it'd be great if there was a connection made. Is it possible for me to connect through this chat here on the webinar to connect you to this particular person?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I will send you their information through a chat here on the webinar.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So I know we do have some other questions, but I think we'll be able to ask some of those as we go a little further along. So let's pivot now to, thanks again, Citizens, the folks at Citizens Bank, for running through your programming. Daniel is with us for Fifth Third Bank. Daniel, I know you're on the call. You can't necessarily see what is happening on the screen, or maybe you can. I'm happy to help you with the website. As your colleague Pat had indicated that she preferred us look at the site, and then we can look at the 7 things to do. So you let me know what you'd like me to do to help out, and take it away.
Great, thanks, Ian. I appreciate that. So I believe we sent a link to our website, and when you hit that link, Ian, if you're there now, it's just the landing page for that link is COVID-19 help and resources. Now more than ever, we're here to. Okay, so right underneath, you'll see personal banking support, business banking support, commercial banking support, as well as community support. If you don't have to dive into them now while we're on the call, but if folks that are on the call want to get a little more specific information about how Fifth Third is helping clients and consumers through this pandemic, they can just click that link that's in the deck and choose the link that's most appropriate to them here. High-end overview of what Fifth Third is doing. We've done a lot of same thing. We're trying to reach out daily to the branches as well as our clients, just to kind of keep them updated. We have committed $8 million in philanthropic efforts across the footprint, and $125,000 of that has been distributed locally already. Fifth Third Day, unfortunately, was canceled. That's where we actually go out in the community and volunteer, very similar to Citizens. That's been put on hold because of the COVID-19, but we're hoping to reschedule that and be able to help businesses rebound from what they're going through at this point. But back to the website, we're doing, most banks have similar programs. We're deferring loans on the small business side for up to 90 days, no late payments. We are participating in the PPP program. There is some relief on the consumer side. There's some waivers for some of the consumer products, for mortgages, credit cards, things of that nature. All of that information will be in each of those drill down points on the website. And I think what we'll do now, Ian, if you don't mind, we'll go to that 7 financial tips page.
Absolutely.
Because I think the website is pretty self-explanatory. Contact information is in there. Most banks, ours are still open. A couple have closed completely, but there are by appointment only. You can call the branch. You can still get things done in the branch, get questions answered, get some direction. Most of the business bankers have been in contact with the branches, so if they can't help, they certainly can try and get to someone who can. But these financial tips, these 7 financial tips, are I'll go through them very briefly. The first one is keep your money in the bank. We've had a lot of times people panic. They start taking their money out of the bank. You get small runs. They're FDIC insured. It's still safe to keep your money in the bank. I've had several clients actually ask me that, whether they should be concerned about this and keeping their funds both personally and on the business side in the bank. And the answer is yes. You need to keep it where it's at. There's really no reason to panic that it won't be there or be available. With technology today, you can get at money relatively simply. And then the number 2 is just sort of some budgeting things that we do with our clients on the consumer side and really on the business side, just to kind of prioritize your discretionary spending. You can contact your utilities, contact your credit cards, even your auto insurance. A lot of car insurance companies now are also waiving or giving breaks on auto insurance during this time. So cell phone companies as well are assisting. So one of the things that we're telling our clients is, make some calls, do some research out there to the people that you do business with. A lot of them are providing additional relief and aid that you may not be aware of. Number 3, protect your identity. So the woman from from Citizens went over this very, very well. Right now is a time when the fraudsters are really out. There's a huge disruption. They know that people are panicking and they will take advantage. So please protect your passwords. I did hear that all 3 agencies, credit bureaus, I think they're supplying free credit bureaus it's either a daily or a weekly basis now through this, so that you can really monitor what's going on your personal side. On the business side, I would tell you, if you do own a business, monitor your checking account and savings accounts vigilantly through this process. You'll see, if you see any strange activity, you need to call your bank immediately. Fifth Third is, unfortunately, some of our clients have been the victim of some fraud just in the last couple of weeks through all of this. So please, if you see any irregular activity on your business or personal checking account, reach out to your banker, because we don't want, that makes things worse. Save for emergencies. That's just part of planning and budgeting. Another one we hear a lot of is avoid playing the market, trying to move your funds around in the 401k, trying to take advantage of the downturn and all of that that comes along with investments. I would say that if this is one of those situations, I'm not an investment person, but I have advised my business clients on the personal and the business side to really talk to their investment advisors on what the best thing to do there is. Typically, most of the time it's best to sit tight and ride the wave, but I would certainly, if you have some concerns, I would contact whoever does that for you. And this is a great time, number 6, it's a great time to financially educate your kids, your children, family members. Right now, every penny matters, and it's a good chance to bring your kids involved. Let them know how you're budgeting. Show them exactly what this pandemic has done to the finances and is doing to the everyday functioning of your household. Buying food, paying for utilities. We can turn this into a learning experience and really help our kids be better prepared when they're on their own and know how to plan and budget for emergencies. And number 7, I think, is through all the stress, everything that's going on, there's so much information coming out at everyone so quickly. And as mentioned so many times on this call already, the SBA has changed quite a bit. The information's coming out daily. Practice self-care. Get outside, take some walks, do some physical activity, take 30 minutes and read a book, watch a movie. I mean, it's really important that you stay strong, that you stay healthy, and that your mind is clear for the next several weeks as we try and process through this. And we're all in this together, and we really want to make sure that we're all healthy and in a good spot once this is over with. But that's, the PPP program. The gentleman from Citizens mentioned that too. I'll touch on that very briefly. If you have not put an application in yet, I would encourage you to do that quickly, as this funding tranche that comes available probably here end of the week at the earliest is probably going to go fast. And so when you're gathering your information, I would encourage you to be thorough and have everything you need, complete all of the information that your bank has provided for you for their application process, so that once you get it in, there's no back and forth to try and get additional information. But I would encourage folks, if they do want to participate in that program, to really hunker down and get that application in and going, because once this opens, I'm afraid the funds will go fast. I think that's really all I have. I'll kick it back to you, Ian, if there's any questions.
Great, Daniel. Thank you very much. We do have some questions coming in, but I think we'll be able to hold until the end. So I'm going to transition now to Tom Frazier. Tom, if you're there, please go ahead and take it away.
Great. Thanks, Ian. I'll ask you to move along the slides if you wouldn't mind. So there's a couple of slides I'll review. In the interest of time, I'll be brief. I do want to emphasize that our role, First Federal Lakewood here, is we're owned by the community. We're a mutual bank, so we have no outside shareholders. So we're owned by every depositor that we have, and our responsibility and ownership is the same as yours in the community, and we're stewards of a community asset. So we're open to ideas that the business community has. Ian and Allison through LakewoodAlive have voiced many of those to us, and we're appreciative of them. So please keep them coming. A couple of things, just touching on PPP. The House is in session right now. They're voting on the additional authorization of funds. We would expect those to be stood up and available as soon as 24 hours from now, after it goes through the Office of Management and Budget and through the SBA for final rulemaking. So it could be any time from midday tomorrow, could even be earlier, that it'll start again, or into early next week. So it just depends on how the rulemaking goes. But it's expected to pass here within the next 2 hours, the House. And then it would go to the President's desk for signature this afternoon. We are participating in the PPP program. We're in the small community bank allocation for banks less than 10 billion. So in this release, there's 3 groups of banks. There's banks larger than 50 billion that have an allocation, banks between 10 billion and 50 billion in asset size, and for banks smaller than 10 billion. So we're in the small community bank allocation. I have a couple of tips for you to think about as small businesses. In the last round, if you had received notice from your bank that your loan was previously approved and you have an SBA loan number, you can expect to have your loan funded regardless of this release of additional funding. So I think last I saw, Ohio banks were about 90% of the way through the funding from round one, but that funding is preserved, so you don't have any need to worry there if you've heard you've been approved and you have an SBA number. Ohio overall, looking at payroll, Ohio outperformed. This may sound a bit hollow for those that are still in the queue. About 70% of the eligible payrolls were met according to the SBA in Ohio. So that was one of the top performing states. I understand, though, this is incredibly daunting sometimes and frustrating to get through the process. So if you have a number, you're in good shape. You'll get funded. If you haven't, very shortly. My second point here, if your loan application is in your bank's round 2 queue, complete with all documentation, reach out to your bank to see where you are. So the applications cannot be submitted in the SBA system until your bank's reviewed it and the loan portal's open for round 2. And that portal we would expect maybe as soon as tomorrow to be opened. If your application is submitted but you haven't heard from your bank, reach directly out to your bank to secure a status update. And if you're considering applying in round 2 and you haven't yet, reach out to your current bank to talk about the fastest path forward. Check your bank's website to understand the documents required to submit along with your application. If your current bank's not approved, there are some that are not doing this program. I think most of the larger banks, in fact, all of the larger banks in Northeast Ohio are. But if it turns out they're not an approved SBA lender, there's a link on the SBA website for eligible SBA PPP lenders. All 3 banks on this call are eligible SBA PP lenders. Visit your bank's website. Ours is on here, ffl.net/impact. Just go to that if you have questions. If you're an FFL customer, contact your relationship manager, and we'll get you in contact. I know we got through almost every single one of our own customers in round 1. We had a few sole proprietors because the rules came out late from SBA on it that are still top of our queue to come in. So if you have any concern, contact your relationship manager at First Federal or just call me directly. Moving on to the Small Business Bridge Program. Early on in March, we knew there was a need for immediate relief in Lakewood from our small businesses. We worked with Ian, with the LakewoodAlive, and with the Chamber, and with other city resources to devise a small business bridge program. It's immediate financial assistance for businesses in Lakewood. All you need to do is raise your hand and say there's a hardship and a loss of revenue. We're not asking you to document that in any way. The documentation is streamlined. You do not have to be our customer to apply, but we'll need some basic information. Eligibility: the business has a physical brick and mortar location here in Lakewood, and it's been in business for a year. These are microloans up to $2,500 with no fees, liens, or personal guarantees. We're not even underwriting them. If you ask, there's a bit of information we need, and that's it. The term is 5 years. Payments are deferred until January 1st of 2021, and the interest rate on the program is 2%. And like we said, we'll sort this out on the repayment after the crisis is over. So these microloans continue to be available. If you're interested, Ian and Allison can get you in contact with Laura Cantrell or Sarah Krosick here in our Lakewood offices. If you move on to the next page, please. Forbearance and financial hardship help. If you are a mortgage or consumer loan customer or business customer of ours, reach out to us. If you have a hardship, please tell us about it. It's much easier to work through scenarios early in a process than it is later sometimes. Our position is you will not have to make a payment for 180 days. During this period of forbearance, there will be no late charges or adverse credit reporting for your loan, so you will not be marked late for any of those suspended payments. We'll work with you throughout forbearance to ensure that you have the assistance you need. We recognize no one business or consumer is going to recover from this in the same way, so we'll have several options to emerge from forbearance at the pace that's right for you. If after this first 6 months, if the situation hasn't improved, we can discuss options also to extend the forbearance period further. The CARES Act requires forbearance options for some mortgages, not all. For us, it's all, but for mortgages to have at least up to a year's forbearance. So our goal is to work with you for the best path forward after this initial forbearance period. And so there's 4 options here, and there's others that are available too that we can work on, but there's no one right fit. We'll work with you on those on a one-on-one basis. So those options include extending your forbearance, modifying your loan to change the terms of your mortgage, to extend that out over the life of the mortgage, working with you on some kind of repayment or catch-up plan. If you have the ability to do a one-time payment, that's fine too. We don't expect that. We can also add the payments on at the end of the loan. So there's many options we can work with you on. So Ian, I'll stop there in the interest of time. I know we're getting close to the end, so I'd be glad to take any questions or to clarify anything I talked about.
Great, Tom. Thank you very much, and thanks for your partnership and everything that you and the team are doing at First Federal Lakewood. Thanks also again to our friends at Citizens and at Fifth Third Bank. Up on your screen, folks, are the links to their websites, also the phone numbers so that you can call. But as they said, please reach out to your business banker or your local branch and ask to talk with a business banker to find out the status, particularly about PPP. This is the second crack at it, and we hope that everyone is able to get through who is trying to either with the SBA number, as Tom indicated, or finish your paperwork or get the process started. I would encourage you to start that process immediately. We'll get to questions here in just a moment. Additional contact information on your screen. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime. My email and phone number are there. And then also our friends over at the Chamber of Commerce with Patty Ryan. We appreciate the partnership that we have with Patty and the team with the Chamber. And then Kayla Milius, who spearheaded the rent relief program, among other things, including the Small Business Task Force. Caitlin's information is also on the screen, so please reach out to any of us, and we'll all do everything we can to assist. I want to remind folks, Ask a Banker Part 2 will be next Thursday, 10 a.m. with Dollar Bank, with Ron McNulty, Jody Barnes, and then PNC, Nick Dima. Please go to LakewoodAlive.org. We will post a link on there for registration, and we'll get that up there live shortly. So enough with that overview. Allison, if you want to relay some of the questions, please take it away.
Sure thing. So thank you so much. I do have several general questions. So if someone could please chime in if they feel they have some pertinent information. The first question I have is from John, and John would like to know if anyone knows the burden of proof that would be required of a business to ensure that they qualify for the PPP rebate.
So Allison, this is Dan from Fifth Third. I think it sounds like they're asking about the forgiveness piece of the PPP loan. I can tell you
Correct.
That the SBA,
yes.
Okay, yeah. So the SBA is actually working on the specifics of that. They have not given any direction yet on the process or the documentation required to apply for the forgiveness piece at the moment. What we do know is that to qualify for forgiveness, and anybody else from FFL or Citizens want to correct me if I'm wrong, but if you need to spend the first 8 weeks of spend, 75% of that has to be allocated towards payroll to be considered for the forgiveness process. What that process looks like at the moment, we don't have direction from the SBA yet.
Anyone else like to add anything on to that?
Yeah. So I think Dan, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, Tom.
So if you go to the SBA website, it'll describe the maximum amount that can be forgiven. So the amount eligible for forgiveness, broadly speaking, is the sum of costs incurred and payments based on payroll costs, interest on any covered mortgage obligation, rent obligation, and utilities. But notably, the borrower must use the full amount within the 8-week period, with 75% of that amount going toward payroll costs. And so that payroll cost definition by law includes cash compensation up to an annual salary of $100,000 and certain other non-cash benefits, which could include group health, retirement, state and local taxes on comp. The remaining 25% of the forgiveness amount, as I mentioned, could include other covered expenses, mortgage, rent, utility, which the CARES Act defined. So that can include electricity, gas, water, transportation, telephone. So it gets technical, but we would expect guidance to be coming out specifically as to how that forgiveness mechanism would get reported.
Great, thanks, Tom. And then kind of add on to that, once we get more specific directives from the SBA, would it be best for folks to reach out to their business banker or to a CPA to help answer those questions once we get more directives?
Typically, the SBA office will be on their website. You'll see the details. I encourage everyone to check the Treasury or the SBA website. There are a lot of details and examples of how to calculate payroll and the forgiveness piece. And to Tam's point, you got 8 weeks from the day of funding that you got to exhaust those funds. Also, you pay attention to your closing documents. Once you get your closing documents, make sure you read them because they'll be very detailed around how, you can use the funds and what a portion will be forgiven if you follow the guidelines. But definitely, I would encourage everyone. We actually, when customers ask questions, we go to the SBA website and we get information from them. We share it with customers.
Yeah. So one final comment. One final comment on it is if you're using PPP funds, understand the permissible uses as to how payroll is defined. Know that it's 75% in the next 8 weeks needs to go toward that, including the rules around that, which are on the SBA site, and then also know for the remaining 25% how it can be used for forgiveness eligibility.
Great, thank you. So another question that kind of just fits perfectly right after this one is, we're hearing from a lot of our small businesses that funds are being put into their accounts. They're not sure if it's from EIDL or from PPP, and there's nothing attached. There's no information. So Maher mentioned loan documents. How are people being communicated with what's being put into their accounts, and how are they supposed to know which is which?
Yeah, typically, you would need, as a business owner, I would reach out to my relationship manager at the bank or the branch. But if you are getting our funds, which is that is related to PPP program, you would receive a DocuSign, electronic document to sign off on the paperwork. And then after that, you will see the funds should be funded in your account within typically 48 hours. So that's how the process works.
Same way, PPP funds from us will come to you. You would complete your documents electronically using DocuSign, and then the advice that you would receive in your deposit account would indicate it came from First Federal Lakewood. So PPP funds come directly from the bank, so you can monitor that in your account. EIDL funds would come from SBA or whoever the government authorizing agent is. I'm not sure if that's SBA or Treasury. So if you've applied for both, that's how you'd be able to distinguish the two. The PPP funds would come from your bank.
Great. That's very helpful. Thank you very much. So we have another question that says, if a business must close permanently, what steps should they take with their bank, other financial partners, landlords, suppliers, etc.? I know that's a big question, but at least on the banking side, if you could provide any insight, or perhaps maybe other resources as a last-ditch effort before someone has to close their doors.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm following the question. So if the business will be closed indefinitely, you said?
Correct. It would be permanently.
Yeah, that's because as you know, we talked about, the BBB program is designed around rehiring any of the employees that you let go, or keeping, your employees, working for you and use the funds for that. So if the business will be closed indefinitely, I'm not sure if there's any, any program out there aside from what Ian and everyone else has discussed.
Yeah, I would say if you're in the spot of closing down your business, consulting with some of the resources that are available on the Chamber and LakewoodAlive sites are probably a good place to start. Talk to your bank, understand the obligations on your note. If you have any business credit, and understand whether or not you have a personal guarantee on that. Talk to the bank about repayment prospects, how you might go about that. And generally probably seek to understand all of those steps initially. The broader items in terms of coordinating with your landlords and suppliers and others, I'm not sure we can provide a lot of advice on that, other than we would try to link you up with other community-based resources who could help. But on the narrower question as to how it applies to your bank, talk to the bank, understand your obligations, whether or not there was a personal guarantee, et cetera. Change of address so that you can continue to get statements, and communication would be important with the bank as well.
Great. Thank you very much. I do have one last question that states, so if you have someone who's applying for any of these SBA loans and they are not a customer of your bank, is there priority given to folks who are customers, or are you just processing the applications as they come in?
I'll speak to that. If you are not a customer of Citizens right now and you want to apply, as I mentioned, our portal is still, it's live and you can go and apply. You just have to have an account with us. So if you have a business account, then you can apply, and it's an order was received. So we don't pick and choose, who to process first. So an order was received, it gets processed, and that's how we move in things to closings.
Yeah, this is Dan from Fifth Third. I'll add on to that a little bit. So one of the reasons that you would want to have an account at the bank you're applying to has a lot to do with fraud, as well as anti-money laundering regulations and new account openings, and trying to get any potential PPP funds to you. The easiest way is to do that through a checking account or a savings account at the institution you're applying through. We can direct deposit those funds. Outside of that, it's a wire, which becomes riskier, also a paper check, which takes longer to get to you. But one of the big reasons is with an established relationship at your bank, hopefully they know you already, and you've already got some you've already got accounts open there, and we can verify much easier through some of the regulations that we need to do on know your client, KYC type things as an account holder. It really has to, a lot of it has to do with that portion of the whole process from start to finish. Sorry, Tom, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Great. No, thank you. So our company's position is we take applications from both customers and non-customers. Order of priority in round one, we were able, and I know we weren't perfect on it, we were able to get almost all of our C Corp and partnership loans through. If our customers had applied early, there were a few sole proprietors that are at the front of the queue in round two here, since those rules came out later. But we are open to taking on non-customers. We don't require an account. We're not sure that comports with anti-tying rules, since this is not a traditional bank product. So we don't require that. I would, if you're interested, if you go to our website, you can navigate through the site and make an inquiry. At this late hour, I can't guarantee the funds will be there when we get through the pipeline, but we'll do our level best to get all applicants through. It'll just be a function of how much gets through. I would say that we worked through about 85% of our pipeline so far, and we're ready to process the rest. So it's not too late to apply, and we'll do our best to get it through.
And I would add one more comment too. Well, my colleagues already on the panel have mentioned that if you want your application to be processed fast enough, please make sure you read the questions, you answer them correctly, and you provide the proper documentations. The challenges that we have, as banks, we get the application and then we need to follow up with the customer because certain items are missing or questions were answered incorrectly. So if you see a set of questions that says no, 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 don't assume all the questions are no, no, no. Make sure you read each one and answer it correctly, because that could cause a delay in processing.
And I just would add on, I know there was some uncertainty for sole proprietors about going after PPP. So sole proprietors now and subchapter S corporations are able to do this. The criteria is the same. The formula is the same as if you were not a sole proprietor. If you haven't applied yet and you wanted to inquire, then I would suggest our two business bankers in Lakewood, Lauren Cantrell and Sarah Krosick, would be the best bet, and they could walk through any specific questions you might have. But I think Citizens' guidance on having the documentation complete is wise and is critical in terms of getting your application through. I'm not sure if this funding round tranche will last more than maybe a day or two. So.
Great. So what I'm hearing is that if you haven't applied, or if you have and were denied, you should reach out basically today and start that process so you can be ready to go when the funds come available again.
So, right, Allison, I would say if you've been denied, you should talk to your bank as to why you were denied that. So it could be some eligibility reason, and your banker should be able to walk you through that. The other thing I would stress is if you already have an application in with another institution, stay in that queue. At this late hour, jumping into another bank's queue, I'm not sure is going to work to anyone's advantage at this point. So sit tight if you're already in a queue, but seek to understand your status with your bank today.
Great, thank you. I have one last question, and I'm not sure if there is any answers to this, but I thought I would ask it. We did have someone reach out to ask if you have any guidance for religious institutions, and are they eligible for any of these programs?
Yes, not-for-profits are eligible for this program. They just need to, provide, 941 federal reports to to the banks and calculate their average, last 12 months kind of payroll, specifically, religious, based, because they don't have to file tax returns, but they should have, some kind of payroll documentation reports that they can provide the banks, with proof of payroll. But they are eligible.
Great, thank you. So Ian,
Allison, I'm sorry. One important distinction on that, we're right. Faith-based organizations are eligible to participate as our 501c3 non-for-profits, but 501c6s are not. So there's a distinction there, and we're not sure why that's the case, but most not-for-profits are in the C3 format, and faith-based organizations, to the extent they're either incorporated or our 501c3s, are eligible.
Great, thank you so much. So I think, Ian, that's the last question that I have. If you did submit a question and it was not answered fully, please reply to me and let me know. I can definitely sneak that in before we end the call. But thank you so much for all the great questions. I'm going to turn it back over to Ian. Okay, well, I'm going to just say thank you all so much for participating. Hopefully Ian will jump back on here in just a moment. But this has been a great conversation today. We are looking forward to next week's presentation, as Ian mentioned, next Thursday, April 30th at 10 o'clock. We will have Dollar Bank and PNC, and so you will see something going out about that in the next 24 hours. So we encourage you to sign up if you do bank with those folks as well.
Great. Thank you, Allison. Sorry,
Ian,
folks, my computer was muted, not my phone, so hopefully you can hear me now. But thanks to our friends at Citizens, Fifth Third, and First Federal. We value your partnership, and thanks to everyone who joined us today. We wish you the best, and please reach out to us any way we can be helpful whatsoever. We want to do what we can, and I encourage you to reach out to your bank to get the PPP process started or updated, or just a status check as was indicated. So again, thank you very much to our panelists, and wish you all a good day, and then please join us again next Thursday. Reach out if you have any questions, and I hope you have a nice day. Thanks, everyone.